They are in almost every movie. They know how to pull off a good stunt and still stay alive. You can't see their faces, but that's the point of their job. Stuntmen. One such professional, named Colt, has been Tom Ryder's stunt double for 6 years. While filming another movie, Ryder did not like to see his stunt double's face in the frame instead of his own. He asks to reshoot the take, and Colt is ready, has nothing to complain about. He's got his dream job, he's doing what he's always dreamed of doing, and the camera operator is the girl of his dreams. Colt is ready to repeat the trick. But this time, his luck runs out, and the trick ends with a 911 call and an emergency hospitalization. 18 months later, a long period of rehabilitation, leaving the profession, leaving everyone including girlfriend Jody. Now the stuntman parks cars in front of the restaurant and counts penny tips. But one fine evening, his former sponsor calls and invites him to return. Professional stuntman needed. Colt says no. He refuses even when he learns that the director of the movie personally asks him to fly to Sydney for the set. However, he immediately agrees when he finds out who the director is. It's Jody. Colt is asked to drift and then flip the car. Colt has two concerns. The sand isn't thick enough to drift, and why Jody isn't paying attention to him. He gets the command to get in the car. His request to change the shooting time to the evening, when the tide will compact the sand, is ignored. Colt realizes that this movie is very important to Jody, so he takes the driver's seat. He sees Jody walking by without noticing him. We already understand that the girl is not even aware of her ex-boyfriend's presence on the set, but Colt is still perplexed. Pictures up, action. A race along the shore begins. At the right moment, Colt's car has to flip over. As a result, the car does 8.5 turns, and the trick is successful. Colt gets out of the wrecked car and hugs Dan, the stunt coordinator. Jody runs to the car. She is interested in the stuntman's well-being, and only at that moment does she see who the stuntman is. The girl is outraged. She did not approve of him and did not invite him. She's ready to replace Colt with anyone, but Dan tells her there's no one else. The next trick is the fire effect. On the set, Jody gives free rein to her emotions, repeatedly asking for the take to be repeated, explaining over the loudspeaker the plot of the scenario, in which the main character disappears for a year, leaving his beloved behind. Jody reports that this is a difficult point to explain. She gives Colt a loudspeaker and asks him to speak his version. The stuntman understands everything but is forced to play along. He tries to explain that he hadn't read the screenplay, but either way, the main character should apologize and ask for another chance. In the evening, after a day of filming, Colt goes to the trailer of the sponsor who invited him. He accuses the woman of lying, but she gives a good reason. Tom Ryder is missing. He got involved with a shady company and disappeared. She cannot go to the police because management will immediately find out she is over budget and shut down production. Gail desperately asks Colt to find Tom. She can only hide the protagonist's absence for 48 hours. During this time, it is necessary to find a guy. Thus, Colt will save Jody's movie and maybe return her love. The stuntman realizes he's being manipulated, but agrees anyway. A little later, he gets into his car and is about to drive to Tom's house. Jody arrives and they have a conversation. As a result, Jody offers make peace and act professionally on the set. Colt promises not to disappoint her. While visiting Tom's house, he is attacked by his girlfriend. She nearly kills him with a fake sword, thinking he is a thief. Eventually, the girl tells him that Tom might be at one of the clubs with his dealer, who supplies him with powder. Colt goes to the club and talks to the dealer. At some point, the stuntman realizes that something has been added to the cocktail. When the dealer's men try to take him away, Colt fights back and knocks out all the thugs. He gets the information from the dealer that Tom's head of security ordered him to be drugged. He's in the hotel, which means Colt can find him. By the way, he starts to see the unicorn. Hallucinations after cocktail. The stuntman goes to the hotel. At the reception desk, Jody approaches him. The girl tries to figure out why the guy is dressed like that and why he's acting so weird. As Colt desperately tries to come up with a plausible explanation, Gail runs up and takes Jody away, and the administrator approaches Colt and gives him the key to the room of Tom Ryder. The stuntman rushes to the room, but there is no one there, but he gets a call from Jody, which makes him very happy. The girl offers to spin the ending of the movie, as she has no idea exactly how best to end it. Jody suggests drawing a line between the characters. She's an alien, he's a cowboy. The line between them is unbreakable. A minute later, the stuntman discovers a bathtub full of ice in the room with Tom Ryder's body in it. Colt rushes out of the hotel and calls Gail. He tells the sponsor that he found Tom's body and is ready to tell the police everything, but Gail is categorically against it. Policeman approaches Colt's Jeep to ticket him for illegal parking. Colt tells him about the discovery of a body in the hotel room. He takes him to show the room, but there is only an empty bathtub in the room. The body is missing. The next day on the set, Judy approaches Colt and explains that she had an epiphany after talking to him that night. They don't need Tom at all. All the work can be done by Colt, and Tom's face will just be pasted over the stuntman's face later. The work begins. In the evening, satisfied with the result, Jody invites the team to karaoke. Colt is invited too. A short time later, Gail approaches Colt. She apologizes for inviting him, and now gives him plane tickets and tells him to fly home. A stuntman overhears Tom's assistant talking on the set, and if the man isn't found, the studio will shut down production and Jody's career as a director will be over. Colt meets the assistant a little later and gets Tom's cell phone from her. It should contain information that will tell him where to look for Tom, as well as information that will surely ruin someone's career. At that moment, garbage men run up to the duo and knock them out with tasers. They take the assistant into their garbage truck and try to find out from the girl where Tom's phone is. Colt gives chase in his car. We see Jody sitting at the bar waiting for Colt. Gail approaches her and asks her if she's worried about Colt's departure because she had to hand him the plane tickets. Gail assures that she acted with the best of intentions, believing that Jody wanted to get rid of Colt. But Jody is not upset about the sponsor's initiative, but about Colt's behavior, who promised to join them for karaoke, but without warning, he disappears again. Meanwhile, Colt confronts two bandits on a garbage truck. The third bandit, who is driving, is being handled by an assistant. The girl pushes the guy out of the cab and stops the truck. Colt rushes to the karaoke bar, but is too late. Jody is no longer there. But there are colleagues on the set. Stuntman shows them Tom's phone and asks them to hack it, but the model of the device turns out to be serious. It will take days to hack. Since there is not that much time, they have to find the password. Tom forgets everything all the time, so he has stickers with clues all over his house. The password must be on one of the stickers. Colt and Dan arrive at his house and begin their search. Password found, phone unlocked. In one of the videos, they see a party where Tom and his new stunt double Henry are having fun. Colt realizes that Henry is the one he saw in the ice bath. Later in the video, Tom pushes Henry and accidentally kills him. They go to take the phone to the police, but the bad guys break in. They also looking for the phone. A fight ensues and the phone is shot through. Dan manages to escape, but Colt is out of luck. The bandits grab him and then Tom comes out. It's his men, and he really wants his phone. At this point, Gail comes to Judy and tells her that Colt is a murder suspect and all the police in Australia are looking for him. Poor Colt is tied up on the pier and Tom tells him his whole plan. Henry accidentally humiliated him in front of his friends, and Tom had to kill him. Colt also once seemed to Tom to be trying to outshine him, so Tom dug into the safety net and set Colt up for a stunt accident. Gail promised to solve Tom's problem. According to her plan, she calls Colt, and then Henry's murder shows up and Colt disappears. However, it's not too late to make the plan work. Henry's murder has happened. The only thing left to do is to get Colt's phone with the secret video and organize the stuntman's farewell. The guy admits that the phone was destroyed, so he signs his own death warrant, but before he's burned alive, he escapes on a boat. Tom's men chase him. Stuntman calls Jody and apologizes for all the pain he caused her with his disappearance. At the last moment, as his pursuers are about to catch up with him, he drives his boat into fuel tanks and explodes, and the henchmen call Gail and report back. In turn, the sponsor calls Jody and tells her that Colt is dead. She doesn't know that at the last moment the stuntman manages to survive and comes ashore. The next day, the thugs show up on the set and try to find Dan, another unwanted witness. Meanwhile, Colt, dressed as an alien, sneaks into Judy's station wagon. Before Judy recognizes him, she gives him a good kick. The guy manages to tell his lover everything that is really going on, and then hides in her bedroom when Gail comes to see Jody. She tells the girl that she talked to Tom and he will be back to finish the movie, but he won't do the complex trick and simply be replaced by computer graphics. When Gail leaves, Colt and Jody decide to get Tom to do his trick and then confess what he did. It's all based on the fact that Tom always forgets about the microphones. It is time. Tom is asked to get into a car that will jiggle against a blue screen. Actor is handcuffed. At one point, Colt gets into the car, takes over, and the car speeds off. Tom's men give chase, but Dan has already prepared an ambush, so all the chasing cars flip over and crash. Colt continues to push the pedal to the metal, infuriating Tom. On emotion, Colt manages to get the actor to talk, and he confesses to Henry's murder and that the whole plan was devised by Gail, his sponsor. The entire confession is recorded. Gail goes to the equipment trailer herself. She demands that the sound engineer give her the recording of the confession. Threatening the man with a gun, she takes the tape and is about to escape in a helicopter. Judy runs up to her and tells her to calm down, but she doesn't listen. She grabs the box with the tape and runs to where the helicopter is landing. Judy, on the other hand, is grabbed by bandits and the girl has to confront them to free herself. She eventually does and runs to a car with a camera tower mounted on it. Meanwhile, Tom and Gail get into a helicopter and are about to leave. Colt catches up to Judy's car and climbs the camera tower. They have a plan. The girl drives him as close to the helicopter as possible and he jumps on it. And while they're driving, Colt sets her up up on a date that was set up once before, 18 months ago, but didn't happen. Finally, the stuntman jumps on the skids of the helicopter and gets inside. A struggle ensues as he tries to get the confession tape from Tom and avoid being pistol-whipped by Gale. Dan sees from the ground that Colt could go down at any moment, so he calls his colleagues to inflate a safety air cushion. He hooks it to the car with a cable and tries to stay under the helicopter. When Colt manages to grab the tape, he jumps and falls onto the cushion. And then we see the trailer for Metal Storm, the movie that Jody has been working on all this time. The movie turns out to be successful, but the lead role is not played by Tom Ryder, but by Jason Momoa. As for the relationship between the stuntman and the director, everything is fine. They spend their time on the beach, drinking margaritas and making mistakes. Gale and Tom are going to jail.